I just wanted to make a quick video and give you an update on a few fruit trees. This first one here is my avocado. I've posted several videos on this one. The avocados have put on a good amount of growth since my last video. This tree had several avocados that were knocked off by a squirrel. They still aren't ripe, but the squirrel just likes knocking them down and taking a bite or two, then moving on to the next. I had this tree in a different area in my yard and wound up moving it here where I can keep a better eye on it. I also put these mesh bags to try and protect them, but it really didn't help. I've ordered a net and I'm planning to cover the whole tree so that I can save some of them from being devoured by the squirrel. The tree started to flower in late February, began to set fruit in March. Avocados can take up to 8 months or so to develop, so I'm guessing these won't be ready to harvest until sometime around October or November. Hopefully by then there'll still be some avocados left to harvest. Here's my other avocado tree. It was purchased from an online nursery back in 2016. It was a young tree, estimated to be about a year old. It was standing about 45 inches tall and in really good shape. The nursery had it simply listed as cold hardy avocado. I believe this is a Mexicola variety. Over time, this tree has been transplanted from the nursery pot to a 10-inch pot, into 16, and eventually to the 22-inch pot it's in now. The tree continued to do well for a couple of years after being purchased. It put on a good amount of growth, and then in 2018 it started to lose leaves. Several branches dried and I wound up cutting it down all the way to here. I removed the tree from the container and found that it was starting to develop root rot. A good portion of the soil on the bottom of the planter had a foul odor. I removed the rotten soil and sprinkled some mycorrhiza on the roots. I added a well-draining soil mix, and I also mixed in some azomite. I then drilled a few more holes in the bottom of the container for better drainage, and I also lined the bottom of the planter with some lava rock, and then I repotted the tree. Within a short time, the tree was doing much better and started putting out new growth. It's been doing well since, and now, as you can see, it's fully recovered and has pushed out a good amount of flower buds. This tree has flowered in the past, but never put out as many flowers as you see here. And it's never set any fruit before. We'll see how it does once it starts to develop fruit. I'll keep you posted. Next is my Starfruit tree, also known as Carambola. It's a little over 4 years old. In late April, it started to develop flower buds. A few flowers started to bloom in mid-May, but none of the fruit set. By early August, it was flush with another wave of flower buds. And you can see just about every branch on this tree has a good amount of flower buds. This is the heaviest set of flowers it has ever put out. Last season it produced a good amount, but not nearly as many as you see here. Even though it put out a heavy set of flowers, it lost nearly all of them, and only about 25 or so wound up setting. And that's about the most I've ever harvested off this tree, is about 25 or so. I believe this season will be a better harvest. For next season, I plan on transplanting it into a bigger planter. This is a 15-gallon container, and it's been doing well, but I'm sure it'll do much better in a larger container. It would certainly do better if I planted it in the ground, but with limited planting space in my backyard, a large container will have to do for now. I recently had a viewer post a comment on this tree regarding what sounded like excessive dropping of flowers. I've never had any real issues with this one. The only problem I've had is chlorosis, which is the yellowing of the leaves. This usually happens when it's cooler. The leaves will turn yellow and then they will eventually drop. This is caused by iron deficiency, and it's easily corrected by adding chelated iron. Other than that, it's done well. As I previously mentioned, this is the heaviest amount of flowers this tree has ever put out. I'm certain it's going to drop a substantial amount of them. I believe it's normal for most fruit trees to drop at least some flowers, provided the tree is in its proper environment and it's getting watered and fertilized properly. For a mature tree growing in a container, when flower drop becomes excessive and you don't get a harvest, it could simply be the container may be too small, especially for fast-growing trees, or maybe the tree has just not had a chance to get acclimated to its new environment. There are a host of other variables to consider, like soil, pH level, just to mention a few. But the ones I just mentioned are a good place to start. This next tree is my strawberry tree, also known as the Jamaican cherry tree. It's a young tree, nearly 3 years old. This is its first fruit set. It first flowered last year in early November. It put on several flower buds, but none of them set any fruit. Then in early May, it started to flower again. I didn't think I was going to get any fruit, and this tree is fairly young and it's growing in a 5-gallon grow bag, so I wasn't expecting its second bloom to set any fruit. But as you can see, it's putting on a good amount of fruit and it's still putting out flower buds. These trees are fast growing and known to be heavy fruit producers. I eventually plan on putting it in the ground. I'll probably plant it here in this area. going to wait until I harvest all the fruit off of it, and then I'll plant it. In mid-August, the first fruit was harvested. The berries are not really big, as you can see. They're a cream color on the inside. The seeds are really tiny and hardly even visible. I've read that the fruit is similar to taste to cotton candy or bubble gum. The taste to me was more on the bubblegum side. But it's definitely sweet and good in flavor. This next one is my Sherbet berry or Phalsa berry. I purchased this tree a little more than 4 years ago. It first flowered about 2 years after I purchased it, but it didn't set any fruit until last year. And it only produced 2 berries. This tree is listed as a shrub or tree, but mine is growing more like a vine with minimal branching. Back in late June, I topped off the leader branch in an attempt to encourage more branching. Within a short time, it put out the branch you see here. It also managed to put out some flower buds, and just recently it started to bloom. We'll see if any of these blooms manage to set fruit. This next set of trees are my pink Barbie guavas. There are 2 trees mixed in here, and they are putting out a really good crop. These trees started to form buds about 3 months ago in early May. And just recently I noticed it's starting to push out a few more buds again, some of which have already flowered. These trees are doing extremely well, and it should be a really good harvest. This last tree is my Rio Red grapefruit tree. It's a semi-dwarf variety. I purchased this back in early 2016. It's been a steady producer, but never a heavy crop. It hasn't put out a whole lot of growth, but it is healthy and it is doing well. It recently developed some flower buds and is starting to set some fruit now. I'm sure a good portion of these will drop off, but I should get a decent harvest anyways. Okay, that'll do it for now. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If so, please consider subscribing to my channel. I've been posting videos on a regular basis, so if you'd like to follow along, please hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. As always, stay safe, grow your own, and thank you for watching.